My long-lost brother came knocking at my door after 17 years, and I don't know if I should forgive him. I was 15 when my older brother went for a walk and never came back, and what's crazy is my parents were never sad about it. You see, they were strict Christians who forced us to study the Bible from a young age. They forced us to pray daily, and there was no warmth or joy in the house. My brother and I only had each other. We were not allowed to have friends in case they influence our view on the world, and the only kids we were allowed to hang out with were the ones we met at church. To this day, I still have the cross-shaped burn scar on my arm, something I got as a teaching after my parents found a non-biblical book in my room. My brother first opened up to me about being gay when he was 17, and when I asked if he told our parents yet, he scoffed. He told me he was never going to tell them, and I still blame myself a lot for pressuring him into doing so. He came out to them the day after his 18th birthday, and the outcome was even worse than he expected. My dad threw things and flipped furniture, and my mother paced around the house reciting prayers. I remember seeing my brother go to the bathroom, and I ran out of my room to defend him. I went up to my parents and started speaking, but as soon as I did, my dad told me that unless I wanted the same treatment he got, to be quiet. I turned around and saw my brother walking out of the bathroom with a red cheek, a blue eye, and red dripping from his forehead. I tried talking to him after that day, but he just seemed defeated. He'd give me one-word responses no matter what I said. My parents, on the other hand, acted like nothing was wrong and refused to acknowledge anything that happened. The day my brother disappeared came a week later. When he left the house, he said bye to our parents who didn't answer him. He hugged me and said bye, and I responded, "See you soon." I cried that night because he wasn't home, and when I woke up and he still wasn't there, I urged my parents to call the police. They did so reluctantly, and my brother was declared a missing person. Nobody ever found him, and he became one of those creepy, unsolved cases. The way my parents acted about it disgusted me. In private, they didn't care that he was gone. They even banned his name in the house. But when they were interviewed about it, they cried crocodile tears on TV. They even exploited him for money, setting up a donation fund and advertising it wherever they could. When I turned 18, I moved out and cut contact with them. Fast forward 14 years, a decade of which was spent trying everything to find him. I was sitting at home with my wife when I got a knock at my door. I opened it, and it was my brother. I stared at him like a madman, my body frozen in place from the shock. When he said, "Come on, give your brother a hug," he gave me a hug, but the sad truth was, I had forgotten about him. It had been so long, and I had made peace with the fact he was gone. And so it feels bad saying this, but seeing him made me feel very little. Either way, I invited him in, and after we both sat down and got the formalities out of the way, I asked him to explain why he never reached out to me. I told him that I almost went broke trying to find him. I told him about the nights I spent crying in my wife's arms about him, and told him I blame him for leaving me to fend for myself with our parents. It was never the right time to reach out, he told me. He said he meant to do it sooner, but life always got in the way. He never elaborated on what he meant, and for the rest of the evening we completely glossed over the elephant in the room. Before leaving, he gave me his address saying he was here if I wanted to talk, and I don't know what to do.